We're back on another episode of the Unprocessed podcast. I'm your host today, Seth Jordy, co-founder of Locavana, and we're here with a special guest, Kendra Atkins, who's one of the OG influencers, and she's really into health and nutrition, and so thought she'd be a great guest on today's podcast. I know her super well because she's my sister, but that doesn't discount all of the things that she's accomplished in the YouTube world and her expertise on nutrition. So Kendra, why don't you just start by giving like a quick, 1 minute background on kind of how your journey through, YouTube and everything has kind of evolved to where you're at today.
Yeah, so I started my YouTube channel like 13 years ago or so, my senior year of college, and it started off just a beauty channel for fun. And through that, it became a full-time job. It was kind of right at the start of YouTube, so I got in at a pretty good spot. And through that, I found out I was gluten-free, which kind of led me down a different avenue at the time. And it was not a popular topic. People didn't really know much about it. So I started doing more health content. And then when I got pregnant, I was pregnant with twins. And then I was even more aware of what I was eating, putting on my body. And now with kids, I feel like it's just continued. And I'm always wanting to kind of improve our household and make it a little bit cleaner every day.
Right. So most of our customers at Locavana are actually in your demographic, moms who want to eat healthy. That's another reason why I think you're going to provide a lot of great perspective, because you're in that square demographic for someone who's looking for healthy food, and that's sort of how you live at home. So what would be some of like the core, principles and habits that you utilize at home? I know one that I want to get into is being a from scratch sort of household. So can you describe that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, since I eat gluten-free, sometimes it's hard to find stuff that is gluten-free or that tastes good. And so from that, I started just making a lot of my own recipes at home. And it's just easy. It's usually less ingredients that you will find in a processed or packaged item at the store. So I know what's going into my food, tastes much better, and I just feel better about giving it to the kids. And so yeah, when you come to our house, I feel like it doesn't look like we have a ton of food in the pantry, but we have all the ingredients to make everything. So I call it like an ingredient household. So I've seen some jokes on Instagram lately where it's like, if you're an ingredient household, you have nothing, no like sweet treats. So a handful of chocolate chips is like your treat. So
Dad must hate when he comes to visit you.
I buy extra snacks when they come in town. I'm like, shoot, I gotta get popcorn and crackers. And he's always like, wow, you guys have the best snacks here. I'm like, just for you, Dad.
So when your kids want, muffins or something at the store, you don't buy the muffins. You say, hey, actually, let's just make them at home.
Yeah, muffins. Like if I see muffins, certain bars, I'll be like, oh, that's easy. I can make that at home. Scones, most like baked items, I'll never buy that at the store. I can make that at home. And I'm starting to do like granola bars. That's super easy. It's just you have to make them. I think it's convenience is why people don't. And it doesn't take that long, but it's worth it to me.
So do you have to plan a lot for that? Because I mean, I live
Yeah.
alone, and when I'm working, I just want to go grab like a protein bar or something to satisfy my hunger. So how do you make it practical where if you're hungry, you don't have to spend 4 hours
No,
cooking
yeah.
something?
I feel like a Sunday, because we grocery shop on Sundays. So I'll make like some protein balls or muffins or whatever, and then you have them for the week. Or I'll make like a loaf, like a zucchini bread, and then you have that for a couple days. So, but yeah, you have to kind of prep ahead a little bit
Gotcha. So it's probably cheaper,
for sure.
but it has to be so much healthier, because every time you go to like a Trader Joe's or something, you think you're buying something that's healthy. It's got all the right marketing certifications, and you look at the ingredients, and there's, sugars, there's canola oil, there's all these different things that you've never heard of instead of like, I'm sure when you make something, it's just a couple ingredients.
Yeah, and that's actually what started me in making more because when our kids were little, I was buying all that stuff and we would shop at Trader Joe's every week. But we actually stopped shopping there like a year ago because of that, because we started noticing everything has canola oil in it, everything has a lot of extra sugar and just extra stuff, that extra junk that I don't want. And so I'm like, we can make this. All the ingredients, we have this, and we don't have to use all this other stuff that who knows. It's a lot of it's just like preservatives to keep it fresh, you know.
Right.
So when I'm making it at home, you just have to eat it within a few days, but that's not hard to do. So,
Yeah, it seems like the canola oil is a big trend where people are moving away from the seed oils. I was looking at that Instagram account, Seed Oil Scout. Have you seen them?
oh no.
So they go to different cities and they say which restaurants use a bunch of seed oils and which ones don't.
Mm.
And it's actually a huge account. Like I thought the seed oil um, interest was quite niche, but they have like I think 1 million followers.
Oh
So a
wow,
lot of
yeah.
people are really getting into that. And I think you're going to start to see like the seed oil free on everything. I know Sweetgreen just launched seed oil free everything for their whole restaurant. So they make like air fried fries
Mm.
using I think avocado oil.
Nice. And then I think In-N-Out's doing beef. Are they doing beef tallow or is
Beef
that a
tallow?
rumor? Okay.
I,
That's what I've
I haven't
heard.
heard that. No, that's true.
I don't know. It could just be a rumor, but maybe it's people just hoping that they are. But
Yeah. So we started selling masa chips. So most of what you get on Locavana is local from local farmers, but there's certain products that we will wholesale if it's something that you can't get locally, like potato chips, and
okay,
we
yeah.
try to find like the healthier option. So we found this company Masa Chips. I think it's called Ancient Crunch is the
Okay, yeah.
company name, and they make chips out of beef tallow,
Mm,
and they are so much better. So they've got a potato chip called Vandy, and they've got a tortilla chip called Masa, and they are insanely good.
yeah. And avocado oil, I mean, that's all I cook with, avocado oil and olive oil,
Right.
which
Yeah.
I'll ask you later, but olive oil is my new thing.
On a positive note, or you're
Positive.
okay. Do you ever worry about like the smoke point? Is that something you think
Oh
about?
yeah, the high, like certain oils. I've noticed that with olive oil. So I tend to bake with avocado oil.
Yeah, because it's got a higher
Higher
smoke
heat,
point. I think it's
yeah.
500 degrees versus like
Yeah.
375 or 400.
Hmm.
Interesting. So you also have chickens in your house,
Hmm.
or on the side of your house,
Yeah.
and you let them roam in your backyard. And last time I was there for Christmas, it was pretty cool. Your kids ran outside, grabbed the eggs in the morning, and that's what we used for breakfast. So walk me through that whole process when you got the chickens and how that's evolved.
Yes, we only have three. It's not very many. So we get 3 eggs a day, which is fun. But we got them just because we wanted fresh eggs and we eat a lot of eggs. And we've just noticed over time when we first got them, the eggs didn't look that much different. I was like, oh, I thought we'd be getting like these dark orange yolks. But I noticed after they matured and started, we let them out in our backyard to roam kind of around the grass and we give them like fruit and scraps and whatnot. But now the yolks are super dark and the eggs are way bigger now.
Hmm.
So when we crack one compared to just, even if it's a store bought egg that's marketed as like pasture raised, it's completely different. And they just taste a lot better too.
It is such a difference. So
Yeah.
we have a farm called Wild Coyote Farm. They're organic, certified, pasture raised, and we did a taste test and comparison on one of our Instagram videos where we got eggs from Jewel, which is the grocery store in the
Uh-huh.
Midwest, and then compared it to Wild Coyote. And just like you said, the size was
Uh-huh.
completely different, the color was different, and then really the strength of the yolk. Like the
Mm,
Wild Coyote yolk was so strong and it's hard to break, whereas the crappy store bought egg just explodes when you put it into the bowl. So
yeah.
eggs really, you can really see the difference between local and the
Yeah.
industrial eggs. And so I think you said that once you started feeding it certain things, that the eggs started changing
Yeah.
colors.
So now I give them, because we have friends who also have chickens and they're like, give them all your scraps. So lettuce, fruit. Like when I cut my strawberries now, I save all the tops and I give all of that to the chickens and they eat it all. They love it. Even I'll freeze some stuff now. So if we've leftover fruit or veggies, I'll put it in the freezer. And then if we're like leaving for the day and they're bored, I'll just give them some of that when we leave because they do get bored.
The chickens get bored.
They're high maintenance
They tell
chickens.
you that they
Well,
need more
apparently
action.
the better producers, the louder the chicken. So I
Oh,
didn't know
interesting.
that. So ours are like Rhode Island Reds are good egg layers, but they like to be entertained. So if they're being loud, I'll have the kids go outside and pet them, and they're happy.
So you said you have three.
Mhm.
So why not have
20.
nine to get more eggs? Is it like a
Because we
room
live in
thing?
a neighborhood. I think so. In our city, everybody's allowed to have 3 chickens per house. That's like
Okay.
the city ordinance. But if we had land, I would definitely get like 20 chickens for sure.
Have any predators tried to get after the chickens?
So we just found out that squirrels are getting the eggs.
Oh, interesting.
Because we went out there and there was a cracked egg, like a full egg, and I was so confused. And so apparently the squirrel can get into the coop and grabs an egg and takes it away.
Huh. And they eat the yolks.
I guess, yeah. So I want to film that and see, get it on tape.
Get a little a ring camera and see what
I
goes down
know.
on the
We
side
also get
yard.
snakes. We haven't had any in there, but apparently the snakes go for the eggs too.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you'd have to be alert.
Okay. So you've got the single ingredient household, you've got the chickens in the backyard, pasture raised. What other interesting things or principles do you guys, follow at home? I think you also mentioned you make sourdough bread every week.
I do.
That seems to be a pretty hot trend
It
in
is a
the
hot trend. I make
social
two
media world.
loaves a week,
Okay.
and that's a part-time job in
So
itself.
walk me through, what does that take? Because I've never made sourdough bread in my life.
I think once you start, you can't really stop, I've realized. So you have your starter that's alive. It's in a little glass jar. I put it in the fridge. It's fine for a couple days. When you're ready to make bread, you take it out,
So it's
feed it.
alive. Wait, sorry, go back. So
Okay.
what is it? This thing, it's an organism that's
What?
alive
It's
in a glass
alive.
jar.
Yeah, so it's like it feeds on the yeast. So it's just water and flour,
Uh-huh.
but over time it eats away and it starts creating all these bubbles, which is what creates the sourdough to rise. And that's why sourdough is better on your stomach because it has all this good bacteria in it. So once you have your starter that's healthy and active, then you take it out and you feed it, which means you just add equal parts water and flour to it, and then it'll start to bubble up and rise. And then you use that starter to make your dough. So you do flour, salt, water, and then starter.
Got it.
Make your dough. But it's a 2-day process.
Interesting. And that makes one loaf.
Well, I double it, so I'm getting 2 loaves out of it.
Okay. So our bread vendor does all these cool sourdough breads. Like they've got a salt and pepper one,
Mm.
a jalapeno one, like a rosemary
Yeah.
one. Do you ever mix in certain spices, or are you just
I have not ventured
okay?
out, but maybe one day.
That's the next step.
Yeah.
So, but you're gluten free. So do you eat the sourdough, or do you have a
So I
special
actually
kind?
can eat like a couple slices a week and I have no stomach aches from it. It's crazy. And when I
Wow.
eat gluten, like the next day or the day of, I'll get a severe stomach ache. Like I have to lay down so bad. I don't anymore really because I'm pretty conscious of all the things I'm eating. But for sourdough, I like tried a little bit because people are like, try it. If you're making it yourself, you know what's in it. And since it ferments for so long, that makes it easier to digest. And so now I can get away with eating like a slice or 2 a week and I'm totally fine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, because it seems like a lot more people are having the gluten problems in the recent years. I know
Yeah.
some of the theories are glyphosate and some of the chemicals that industrial farmers will often use. Have you
Yeah.
looked into that at all?
I'm sure that's part of the reason. I also wonder if a lot of it, because I think it's a lot of people our age. So I'm wondering if it's from how we ate growing up as kids, just like all the highly processed foods. So much of it was just packaged in like completely not real ingredients.
So you think that we had more packaged food than, say, someone who was 15 years older than us?
I feel like the 90s was the height.
That was
No?
the
Yeah, like
peak of
Dunk
Doritos and Lucky
Dunkaroos,
Charms.
toaster strudels, like
Yeah.
there's not a real ingredient in that. And that was my breakfast every single day.
Yeah. Our mom is super healthy today, but when we were growing up, it was a different world
It
where
was a different story.
I think I had a bag of salsa verde Doritos every afternoon from school,
Yes.
Lucky Charms every morning.
I know it's crazy. Like
Yeah.
the sugar, I don't know. I mean, who knows what led to that, but because also our mom, she's gluten free too. So, but she was eating a lot of those foods. I don't know. I think it could be a buildup of what we've eaten over time. But yeah, definitely could be from all the chemicals.
Were you into health and nutrition prior to the gluten free or the gluten
No,
intolerance issue?
not at all. Like I look back to what I ate and it was so bad, especially in high school. Like it was never a thought of what I ate. So I think once I went gluten free, it's kind of a blessing because then it made me aware of all the stuff that I'm intaking and you have to look at the ingredients. Before I would never look. I think before it was more of you're looking at stuff that's low calorie, low fat. It was kind of more like diet stuff back then.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, I should actually look at the ingredients and that's what I do now. I rarely look at calories. I look at protein, sugar, ingredients.
It seems like most people who become pretty healthy and engaged in health and nutritious have some sort of event, some health
Mm,
event that like kicks
that
them
led
on
them
that
to
path
it.
where they kind of have to do it. For me, I
Yeah.
had some heart issues in my early 20s that made me drink a lot less and start to eat a lot healthier. But I kind of wish I had this knowledge like early on in my life and had built those habits in my younger days. So I think
Yeah,
it's cool that
same.
your kids will have that knowledge and those habits now that it'll just be normal for them when they're in college to eat uh, the right way.
Yeah, I know. I feel like my big thing is just awareness for them and just knowing what they eat and what they eat's going to affect how they feel. It's going to affect, if they have low energy or a lot of energy, if they have a headache, a stomach ache. Like usually if they say I have a stomach ache or something, I'll ask, what did you eat? That's usually my first thing. And they're now just they're aware of dyes in foods. Like it's just funny, kids now, like they're aware of all this stuff, which is good. I mean, I'm not like telling them to be afraid of it. I'm just saying just no, it's you're in charge of what you're eating and probably not the best idea sometimes if you're eating a bunch of candy that's full of dyes.
I
So,
think that's super powerful though, like tying the negative effect to something where like when I was a kid, I just ate candy like as much as I could.
yeah.
And I didn't think about like the negative impact
No.
where, I mean, like if I knew like, hey, you're going to feel terrible if you eat all of this, then
Yeah.
I might not have eaten it. Where it's not like you're just stopping someone from doing something as a temptation. There's actually a reason for not
Right.
eating a certain way because you're going to feel terrible.
Yeah, and it is interesting too because I think since we eat pretty good at our house, when the kids don't eat good, they feel it like way more than I
Yeah.
ever did as a kid. Like Halloween, oh my gosh, every Halloween, one of our kids throws up. Like it's like I'm
That's a
always
great
waiting.
mechanism.
I'm like, here it comes. And one time it was because one of our girls ate like a ton of candy corn, and that night she was just in the bathroom the whole night. But it's because they're not used to having all the sugar. And so it's like, and so now they're like, I hate candy corn. I'm like, you should, because that's what it's doing to your body.
Right. I think eating by feel is just a super important thing overall. Like you see on Instagram, there's a lot of people that try to push you towards one diet. Like there's
Yeah.
people that just swear by, carnivore,
Like keto or something.
keto, and they say, "Oh, this is the only thing you should be doing." But everyone's bodies are so unique. I mean, you mentioned you have the gluten
Yeah.
intolerance. Like my body responds, really well to certain foods. and not so well to like a lot of carbs I don't really feel great on. But I'm
Yeah.
sure other people respond super well to them. So I just think it's important to know that you're unique and really
Yeah.
figure out, like, just be observant when you eat and say, like, what foods make you feel well. And that's a pretty good indicator of if it's good for your body or not.
Right. Like I definitely need carbs, but I think it can be hard when you are gluten free. But there's other things besides, like I'll eat a lot of potatoes or rice, not a ton, but I feel like it helps with my blood sugar. And I also feel better when I eat a lot of red meat. Like those are my, I don't know if it's my blood type or what, but
Your superfoods.
my superfoods, yeah.
Yeah. I maybe it's genetic because I feel amazing when I eat red meat. And
Hmm.
specifically the, I don't know if you call it game meat, but when I have elk, venison, bison, those three, I feel so
Hmm.
energized after I eat them.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever had that in my life.
There's a company, I'll give them a free plug because they don't sell on Locavana, but
Oh,
there's a company, Force of Nature,
okay.
that sell their regeneratively grown beef and all these items.
Oh.
They sell elk. You can find it like Whole Foods. They sell venison, all the cool meats, and it's really good.
Hmm.
One of our farmers actually has bison, and so I buy all my bison from Hawkins Farm, who's right next to Ridgeview,
Hmm.
and it tastes just like beef, but it's just a little less fatty.
Okay.
So if you feel good on red meat, I think you should
Yeah,
definitely try that.
maybe.
Um, so cool. All right. So you guys have the chickens, the sourdough. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. You mentioned plastics a
Mm.
while back. So what do you do to avoid plastics? Because that's one of the hardest things I've found.
Yeah, I
Like it's
think
just in
that
everything.
it's hard to completely avoid it now. It's truly in everything. And once you are aware of it, you're like looking around at everything that even I was on the treadmill yesterday and I was drinking out of this cup and this I replaced it. It was just like a plastic straw. I'm like, plastic, like it's just everywhere. So I don't know
Yeah.
if I mean, as much as you can do. But so back to Trader Joe's, sorry, Trader Joe's. But we stopped shopping there too because we realized everything was wrapped in heavy plastic, like so much plastic. Everything was individually wrapped. All their meats were in that. And so we found a grocery store that we get our meat from the butcher now. And so it's all fresh, it's not frozen. So you pick what you want right there and then they package it for you. And then we don't freeze it, we just eat it the week of. So that's something that worries me, like just the meat. How long is it in that plastic? So what we do for pantry items, so all my flours, my sugars, once I have glass jars, so I pour them into there and it looks nice, but you also know when you're low on something. Also things like our collagen powder, creatine, that's all in glass jar. I just pour it in a glass jar. And you
Mhm.
don't have to buy, I mean, I did buy jars for all of our flours and all that, but whenever we're grocery shopping, I'll just look for a glass option. So like the applesauce we get for the kids is in a glass jar, so I always save those because it's a good size. And then I'll just use that for lots of different things. Oh, there was something else. The little plastic bags you get at the grocery store for
Yeah.
produce. Like we bought like those mesh ones now. And so I take those with me to the store.
Yeah, this is the battle that I fight every day because like there's a spectrum, right? Or on
Yeah.
one end of the spectrum, you just do the most convenient thing, you take the plastic, whatever, you live with the consequences.
Right.
On the far end, you do, the really hard things
Everything.
like bringing things to the grocery store to pack your food, always having a bottle with you, taking all like that is really hard to do. So like
Yeah.
what I don't know is how
Much
bad the
of an
plastic
impact it
problem,
has.
yeah, like how bad is the problem and how far gone are we already? Because
I mean,
I
I
think,
feel like there's studies that it's in our brains. Like
right.
most people, isn't it like a credit card size of plastic in most bodies now?
I think I want to say you eat a credit card a week.
What?
It's something crazy like that.
Okay. So
Let me fact check that right now.
I thought it was we have a credit card size amount of plastic in our bodies. But
Yeah, so there was a claim that you eat a credit card worth of plastic every week. I mean, it'll probably go through your body, not all stay there.
Right. Like, and then, yeah, how much of it is staying in your body? How much can you detox? I've heard sauna is really good for that.
Oh, that's good. I sauna a lot.
Yeah. But I don't know what else.
This is a good conversation though, because let's just think about like the evolution of health and wellness. So there's certain things today that, 20 years ago you probably think would be pretty weird, but they're just commonplace today. I'm trying to think of some example like the sauna. I didn't know anyone who used a sauna 20 years ago, but it seems
Only in
like,
like fancy spas.
yeah, exactly. Like if you're going to go to Finland, maybe. Um, so like, what do you think are things that we do today that would have been weird 20 years ago? And then what do you think in 20 years are going to be normal things that we think are weird today?
I think we're going to look back at all the plastic, honestly,
Yeah.
but who knows? Maybe not. Okay, so a few things that I think, well, nothing 10 years ago was all labeled gluten-free, non-GMO, organic. Like now there's so many labels on things. And then I wonder how much stuff back years ago was just made better. So are things made worse now just with cheaper ingredients? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
because that's like Andrew, my husband always says, well, like everything back then was, I don't know how to explain it. He thinks that we're so much better off now, but I think that we're using cheaper ingredients now. And so that's why they're having to put these labels on non-GMO, all this stuff, where 10 years ago, was it all sprayed as much as it's sprayed now? I feel like it wasn't. Or not just 10 years ago. Like I'm thinking back further, like when our parents were younger. I don't think they use as many chemicals as they do now.
That's probably true. The food scientists are way better today than they used to be. And they're trying to drive the prices down, trying to use the cheaper ingredients, trying to make it more addicting and taste better.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just all the labels now. It's like next level. Everything has a label, and then now it's dye free.
Yeah.
Where 30 years ago everything wasn't made with dyes. So
Yeah. It's like I heard someone say 80 years ago, or maybe it was 100 years ago, organic farming was just farming.
exactly. Okay, that's
And
what I'm
like
trying to say.
salmon, wild caught salmon was just salmon. And
Yes.
because all these other cheaper options, like glyphosate free things, was just what it was.
And even places in Europe, like people who are gluten free can eat pasta there because it's made with pure ingredients. Like the
Right.
sourcing of these ingredients is so much better than here in America, where a lot of the stuff is just much cheaper, like the ingredients they're using, and it's just more heavily processed. I don't know if I answered your question,
No,
but
that's a good answer. So I read this article that's very similar to this
okay.
in the last week. And this woman made the case that um, the organic certification right now, farmers have to do a lot of paperwork and it takes a lot of time and it's thousands of dollars to get the USDA certification on all their products.
Hmm.
And so a lot of farmers just say, I'm not going to do that. It's too much time. I'm going to do the right practices, but to get a stamp of approval, it's not worth the time and energy. And her point was you should flip who needs to pay for the certification. So the people who are spraying things with pesticides
Mm,
and glyphosate, they need to pay for the ability to do that. And if you are organic, you don't pay anything.
right.
So then
Yeah.
it sort of incentivizes the person to use the right
Right. It's
practices.
so much work to get
Right.
things. Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, in the future, I think in 20 years from now, I think the plastics is going to be a big one.
Mhm.
But I hope it's not. I hope that we're fine with some of the plastics. But I've even heard like your clothes should be natural fibers, and that
That's
that
my
one's
new
really hard for me.
that's my new thing. I'm trying to like swap stuff and like all of the workout clothes now, that's all shown to be
Yeah.
so bad. So now if I go in the sauna, I try to wear cotton,
But then
because
that doesn't do well with sweat.
well, I mean, but I'm not wearing like rather than wearing full length tight yoga pants.
Yeah, yeah.
That's and mom said that to me. She's like, "Don't wear these in the sauna." But yeah, clothes, I mean, but it's a topic, so I think it's good that people are talking about it, and maybe it'll incentivize companies to change some things,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, like 3 years ago, I went down the path probably a little too far on
Mhm.
like all these, Instagram health trends I was following, all the Andrew Huberman,
Yeah.
the Peter Tia, like the all those guys. And I've started to walk back a little bit because I think they go way too far in a lot of things.
Who's the guy who had the documentary out recently?
Oh, Brian Johnson.
Oh, we just
Yeah.
watched that.
Like
Crazy.
he's way too far. I mean, they've got good core principles, but I think they take it too far. Like here's a couple examples. Gary Brecka.
Yeah.
And I think these guys mean well. I think they're trying to make people healthier, so I don't want to shit on them too much.
Right.
But Gary Brecka posted him at a nice steakhouse, and he brought his own salt to the steakhouse. So he like brought his special salt that he's putting on his
Okay.
steak. I'm like, that's just not realistic.
Okay,
Like, be a
mom
normal
mom
person.
brings her own oil.
That's weird. I would criticize her in person for doing that too.
She
She
brings
hasn't
her
done
own
that with me around, so
dressing.
thankfully.
She pulls it
Um,
out. It's like a little bottle.
yeah. And then this guy the other day, David Sinclair, he's one of these longevity guys, and he has the blood glucose monitor.
Hmm.
And he was posting like he just had a granola bar before sleep, and he's like, "Oh, I never eat before sleep, and look at how haywire my glucose numbers were." And I'm like, "You can't eat a granola bar and not have your body like freak out. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
sound like a lot of that you're super healthy."
Yeah, all of that, it to me it's like, okay, I understand the point of living it. I mean, for not everybody, but is to live, to feel their best, to be healthy, to have energy. You obviously, want to feel good and look good, but at what cost? I mean, obviously, you don't want to be lazy and just sit around. Like, of course, you need to exercise, but I just think it's all in moderation.
Mhm.
Just if you're, obsessive about eating or obsessive about fitness, it's taking away from something else in your life,
Totally.
So I think it's just for me, because I also went down like those high intensity workouts. I was doing that for a few months, and that messed with my hormones. And that was like a little key for me of needing to rest more, like to balance. I think I kind of run at like fight or flight a lot of the time, or I was kind of in this like fight or flight state a lot where I'm eating on the go, I'm not sitting down. And so a big thing that helped my stomach was like slowing down when I'm eating, helping my digestion, and like having some stillness in the day, which is hard for me. Like I'm
Yeah.
always trying to, what can I listen to? What can I do?
That's so true. I mean, just on the cardio front, I just started running with no knowledge like 5 or 6 years ago,
Hmm.
and I would just go full speed, like you said,
Hmm.
the high intensity, and I felt terrible. And then I talked to, I started training for a marathon and had a coach, and he was like, you should do one hard workout a week,
Hmm.
and the rest of them should just be light and easy. And he said
You
that's
do
what
the
the
zone
Olympic
two?
marathon, yeah, the zone two.
Oh, yeah.
And the Olympic marathon runners will do like one or two hard runs a week, and the rest of them are just maintenance, light and easy. I,
Yeah.
so it makes sense that you had that reaction on the high intensity part.
Yeah, I felt like the worst I've ever felt.
Yeah,
It was crazy. And I was going early and there was like bright lights everywhere. It was just, it didn't like my body, it didn't feel right. I'm like, this is not good for me. But yeah, now I do the zone two and I love it now.
it's fun. Like just
Yeah.
running light and easy is actually fun. I enjoy it. It's meditative.
I feel like once you get for me, it's like once I get to a 20-minute, then I'm like really in the zone. But at
Mhm.
first I was like completely I'm just doing like the treadmill walks, but I'd be so out of breath. I'm like, this is so bad. But now
Right.
it's better.
So here's my prediction on like what is going to be normal in 20 years versus kind of weird today. So I just got my full blood panel,
Hmm.
and it's super interesting. Like you see all your lipids, your blood glucose, your A1C, all that stuff. And I
Hmm.
think I had over 100 blood tests. And like it's going to make me change certain things based on certain numbers.
Hmm.
So I think that like personalization on
Hmm.
your current health, and then having like AI say, if I were to punch in all my blood data to AI today, I think it'd be okay at it. But in the
Yeah.
future, it's going to be really good and say, like, these are the foods you should eat. These are
Mm,
the foods you shouldn't eat. And then you like continuously do these tests,
I
and you
love
should be able
that.
to get like personal data and like real time feedback on what you're eating and whether it's, working or not.
Like completely catered to you.
Complete cater like an app that's just like,
Yeah.
and I don't know how often you're gonna do the blood test. That company Theranos, the one where the woman went to prison. She was like 28 years old,
Oh, I don't know
the
that.
blonde. They did a couple of shows about her.
Okay.
She had a blood testing company where that's the friction today is like I had to go into Quest Labs
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
and get 20 vials of blood taken,
Yeah.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
Um, where like they said they can do like a microscopic or small amount of blood and do all the testing, and it ended up not working.
Oh,
But that if they could figure that out,
yeah.
where it makes the testing super easy, and then you get the real time feedback, that'd be amazing.
Didn't you? I feel like it was you who said a lot of the testing they used to do, and even now, they'll say, like, oh, yeah, your levels are all average or normal, but you want optimal levels, where it's like they don't really test for that.
Well, the problem is they use the general population as the
Hmm.
baseline. So they look at say think of let's do an example on like I don't know your A1C. So
Okay.
they look at the whole population and they say like if you're within this range that the whole population's in the average, then you're like healthy.
Right.
Whereas the average person's not healthy. So they've done like they're starting to move away from that with some of these companies like Function Health,
Okay.
where they have like more science behind what the optimal levels are. But I think that's really important. Where some doctors just look at these population tables for like what is normal
And they're like, oh,
versus
you're fine.
yeah, because you're
Yeah.
unhealthy like everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
that's
there any things that you do like that other people would think are weird health things,
if you asked me 3 years ago, definitely.
but
Um,
they're normal now?
well, I would say I've stopped doing a lot of things. Like I used to be obsessed with like my sleep score
Oh,
on like all the wearables. Um, like
see, my
wearing
thing with those is I know people love them. If I were to wear like a ring at night, I would be in my head about falling asleep, and I'm like, oh, now my score is going to be bad. Like I
I
wouldn't
know
be able to fall
that's what
asleep.
happens. Like
Okay, yeah.
if I've got an early flight or something, I won't even look at it because I don't want to be
Yes.
mental the next day, like knowing that I had bad sleep.
Yeah. That would
Let me think. I mean, this is sort of, I ran the coffee company.
mhm.
So when people have coffee with me, they think it's kind of weird that I do the full pour over. I grind the beans.
They think
I've
that's
got the
weird?
the Chemex. Well, like a lot of people have never seen that, or they don't
Really?
always get it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we always grind our beans now after you had that company.
Oh, it
Like,
makes such a big difference. So like the
yeah.
rule of 15, and I could just bore all of our listeners with coffee stuff right now, but the rule of 15 is when you harvest coffee in the green beans from the coffee growers,
Mhm.
it lasts 15 months in its unroasted form. So it's like whitish green. And that's what we would buy from Guatemala. And it stays fresh for 15 months. Once you roast it, and roasting it is putting it into a coffee roaster, it's essentially just heating it up like an oven. And
Mhm.
that's what turns it from the white to brown.
Right.
It's only 15 days in peak freshness. Like it's not going to go bad in 16 days, but it starts to really taper off in the quality. And then it's
Yeah.
15 minutes after you grind it.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you think about it, like oxygen is the enemy to fruit, and coffee's a fruit, right? Like if you look at
Mhm.
a banana's going to oxidize, turn brown over a period of time. Coffee, like you've got a protective shell in a coffee bean. And then when you grind it, it breaks it all up and you lose that shell and the oxygen gets into the inside of the bean.
Okay, so that's good to know. Yeah, because I remember when Dad was here, I had some, I mean, it was ground beans, but it was already ground, and he was like, you didn't grind it day of?" So now I know why.
Dad gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
He's part of the company.
Yeah. Okay, but I started taking olive oil shots. Have you heard of that?
Olive oil shots and like a full shot glass worth.
Not a full, I'll do like a half. And I just saw somebody who does they add a little bit of lemon, so it takes the kick away because olive oil by itself is not my favorite. But it has helped so much with digestion for me. It's good for your skin. It kind of like first thing in the morning, so on an empty stomach, but it kind of coats your like lining first thing. So I'll do that before I have any coffee or anything. But that's like I feel like a weird thing where
I've
people
never
are
heard
like,
of that. Wow, I
"Really?
gotta.
Okay."
I'll try it. I'll try anything. Here's one that I think is that most people are starting to do now, but less so in the past. Is with the lotions and the things that you put on your skin, sunscreens, and paying attention to the ingredients.
Oh yeah.
Because I think most, and I didn't realize this until a few years ago, but your skin is, I think it's the biggest organ on your body,
Hmm.
and anything you put on your skin gets absorbed, and people don't think about that. It's sort of like
Yeah.
like I wouldn't put something on my skin that I wouldn't put, in my mouth. Yeah.
Right. And even back to gluten, uh, if I use like a body lotion that has it in there, it'll react to my skin. I'll get really itchy. So that was kind of tied into being aware of what ingredients I'm using. And I think this is kind of a craze right now, but it's the beef tallow sunscreen. Have you seen that?
I use the lotion,
Oh yeah, me
but I've
too.
never tried the sunscreen.
Yeah, so I've been using beef tallow for my face for like 2 years now, and I love it. I try to tell every single person to use it, but I just saw that, well, Primally Pure is the company I love, but they just launched a sunscreen and another one, Sky and Soul. They have one, but it's just with zinc and it's all ingredients like if you ate it, it's fine. Like it's not packed with chemicals. But I like it because it's telling people like we're not, I think everybody's been telling us for so long, fear the sun, like never be in the sun, cover yourself with sunscreen 24/7, where the sun is not, we shouldn't fear the sun. Like it's good in doses. Obviously don't go out peak sun times and just get fried. But morning sun and evening sun are just so good for your sleep,
Yeah.
for vitamin D, and I've been wearing sunglasses less too because it like
I want
if
your
you wear
circadian rhythm to be aligned, and
yeah, and if you
yeah,
wear sunglasses too much, then you can get sunburn more easily. I'm trying to like
because your
train my
body,
skin.
your body knows,
Yeah, your
your body
body's
acts
like
differently
yeah,
depending on if there's light or not.
you're like warding off the sun.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
yeah.
So I've noticed this a lot moving we grew up in Southern California, and I've lived in Boston, Chicago, Michigan, cold places ever since I left and after high school. And my mood is way worse in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Like when I had the sleep tracker, my heart numbers were way worse in the wintertime. Like my resting
Huh.
heart rate would go up, my HRV would go down like 10%, 20%, like big amounts.
Hmm.
And like I think it just shows you how important like your energy levels, your happiness is being out in the sun. It does make a big difference. And
Yeah.
here's my theory. I don't know if this is true. I haven't looked into it, but well, like you said, like people fear the sun, but
Hmm.
like every animal is out in the sun,
Hmm.
and I just can't believe that we've evolved to like hide from the sun. Like
Right.
humans, who are hunters and gatherers, are out in the sun all the time. I think the problem is someone like me who's got fair complexion. I'm inside on a computer all day.
Right.
And so if I go out in the sun, it's just like something that my body's not used to.
Yeah.
But if I like slowly built up a tolerance and was out in the sun for 20 minutes every day and like slowly increased, I would assume that after a certain period of time, I could be out there all day and not really having as many issues.
Right. I'm pretty sure they used beef tallow on their skin like long time ago because they didn't have sunscreen, obviously, but it's because it's like a protective layer, and now people add zinc into it. But yeah, this like if I'm ever feel like I'm in a funk or something or just like not in a good mood, I'll put my phone away and go outside and instantly feel
It's like
way
you're
better.
charging,
It is.
honestly.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's so
grounding
important.
too. Are you grounding in the city?
So that's one where I think if you talk to people about that, they think you're a total weirdo. But
Okay, no.
I believe it. I think it's totally real.
No, I remember when our girls were babies and they'd be crying, mom would say, "Okay, take off your shoes. We're going outside." And I'm like, "Okay, weirdo."
Wait,
And
explain what grounding is for people if
you
they
have to
don't
be
know.
barefoot
Yeah.
and you have to be on dirt, grass. Cement counts technically because you're getting moisture still from the ground, but It's just being in contact with the ground. And the second I would walk outside, the girls would stop crying. It was just the craziest thing. But now I kind of have pieced it together and I understand why. But yeah, there is something about also in the winter, I always like notice myself getting shocked all the time because you're in like socks and slippers. And it is just like you need to be barefoot completely.
Right. So I just pulled it up on Claude, and it
Okay.
says the basic idea is the Earth has a natural negative electric charge,
Hmm.
and so your bodies build up a positive electric charge from modern life. And then if you don't have the direct contact with the Earth, you just sort of build that up, and it never releases. So the it says swimming in natural bodies of water, walking barefoot, and then there's like these grounding mats and sheets.
Sheets. Yeah. Doesn't
But
it affect your cortisol levels?
Yeah, it says the claimed benefits are better sleep, reduced inflammation, less stress and anxiety, improved energy levels, reduced chronic pain. I think that I've seen those graphs, or not graphs, where they do like the infrared of someone's inflammation,
Oh, yeah.
and it shows like it's all red inside the person, and then after 30 minutes, it's green.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I
So
think
that's
you
another.
have to be outside for like at least 20 minutes
Yeah.
to get like the full effects.
There's really nowhere for me to do it though
Mm.
in Chicago.
I know people who like get off a plane and they'll go ground somewhere. But yeah,
Interesting.
you have, where are you gonna go? Park?
That's
I
next
don't know.
level. But even the parks, so like my apartment has on the third floor has a grass area where you can walk on, but I don't think that counts because I don't think that grass is connected
Is
to
it
the
real?
earth.
Oh no, it's on a.
It's on the third floor.
Yeah.
So even the parks, like a lot of these cities,
Oh,
there's
that's crazy.
they're built on artificial like slabs. So I don't even know if the park on an artificial slab would
I
even count.
I have grounding shoes.
Wow, that's next level.
They're really comfortable, but it's like barefoot shoes. So technically, I guess it's not as good as being fully barefoot, but if I'm in them, like I'll wear them if we're like going on a walk or like if we're at the baseball fields.
Gotcha.
That's right.
That's one of those things you have to do when you're married.
So I want to get grounding sheets.
Yeah. So let's go back to your kids. So I want to get into how to balance this. This sort of ties into the overall theme of the conversation. How do you balance like just being a kid and not stressing about what you're eating and trying, candy on Halloween
Mhm.
versus like building those healthy, good habits? I know you said you try to tell your kids what's in the food and how they'll feel after. Like do you keep any like fruit snacks or things like that in the house or
Yeah, so I'd never buy that stuff just on the regular, but for certain like Owen's birthday's coming up, so I bought fruit snacks for the piñata. And
Mhm.
it's funny because we had some left over, and he's like, "Can I have a fruit snack?" And I went to just check, and it had 10 grams of sugar in this tiny little thing. I just thought that was so crazy. The lollipop had less. Yeah. But no, I don't buy that. I don't keep that stuff in the house. It's just for like certain things. Because then when something does come up, like a birthday party, I'm not going to say, you can't have that. Because I think that makes kids want it way more because they don't have the self-control to be like, oh, I should probably not. But our girls now, okay, they're 8. They're already like we see them making like choices when they're somewhere. Like we'll go out to eat and we'll say, do you want to get dessert? And sometimes they'll just have a few bites and then they're like, I'm done, I'm full. Or I feel like if I was a kid, I would eat every last bit of it. Obviously, sometimes they do, but I just think they're getting like really aware of
Yeah.
what they're eating and knowing that it's a treat, knowing that this is just not like a regular food item. And I don't keep sugar in the house. Like I'll make some stuff every now and then, but when we get like frozen yogurt, like that's definitely a treat. Where even like us growing up, we had ice cream in our freezer all the time,
Mhm.
like 24/7. I think I had ice cream almost every night.
I think I
Right?
ate it every night. I was gonna
Every
say
night.
I still ate it a lot,
Right.
but we never had soda in the house, and I noticed that none
Yes,
of
we
us
did.
did
In
we?
in the garage, there was a corner cabinet that had jugs of root beer and soda.
But it was never in the fridge. It was always lukewarm.
Okay, yeah, it was for like parties or something.
Yeah, it wasn't like something that
Okay,
everyone
that's true.
we weren't
Yeah.
like pulling sodas to drink, and
No,
I've
you're right.
never been a soda drinker, and I think it's tied
Neither
to
have
that.
I.
Where
Yeah.
some people are just obsessed with soda, and I would bet they had it as a kid quite frequently
Yeah,
growing up.
that's something I don't drink soda ever. Do
There's really
you?
no reason. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many healthy alternatives now today
Yeah.
that there's no reason to.
Yeah, so our kids, like, we don't do soda. I mean, if we're out to eat, they can pick between like water, milk, orange juice, sometimes apple juice. But I think it's just, yeah, like having a balance, letting them have some treats every now and then, but knowing that it's just not a regular thing for them.
You know what? It helped me eat healthier because I was pretty picky growing up.
Hmm.
But when I was like one of the smaller kids, like knowing that if I ate more and ate right, that I would get stronger
Oh, really?
and it helped me in sports like that made me start to eat more and like
Ah,
tying it to
what
like
it'll do for
trying to
you.
make me better in a certain way. I
Yeah.
think that
And
was
I do
important.
tell them, like, because our kids will ask, like, what is in this or what will this do for me? Like, eat like carrots. I'll say, this is going to help your eyes a lot. And they're like, whoa, that's cool. Or like milk, like, this is good for your bones. Has calcium. Like, I think a lot of people think kids are too young to explain this to them, but they'll listen to it. And I think they want to know. And if, as you're telling them over and over and over, it just starts to sink in.
Right. So then, so where do you shop?
So it's a local grocery store. It's not a chain, but it's pretty much all organic, which is awesome. And at first, we didn't go there because we thought it was really expensive, and we realized it's just you just have to be smart about how you shop. And again, since I make less package or since I buy less package items and make them at home, we can cut money from that and use it towards, more meat or something like that.
What's it called?
Roots.
Roots. Is it Whole Foods like pricing or more expensive?
I don't know. I haven't been to Whole Foods in a long time, but I would say I feel like it's a little less actually.
A little less.
Yeah.
Because yeah, people ask us all the time about our pricing.
Okay.
And so if you think about a typical grocery store, the farmer sells it to a pack, and it's not for every product, but a lot of products. You sell the raw food to a packager. The packager sells it to a wholesaler. Wholesaler sells it to the grocery store. So there's all these layers in the supply chain where eggs might cost $10 at the grocery store, but the farmer's only getting $2.50. And so that drives a lot of the prices up at some of these stores for like
Hmm.
organic pasture raised eggs. So the benefit of buying direct is like the farmer's getting a lot more of that margin.
Yeah.
So we sell a lot of like organic regenerative stuff, but it's not always at super high prices, which some people would assume.
Yeah.
Um,
That's awesome.
but like certain products, they are more pricey. It is what it is because using like better practices, it's just not efficient. Like someone was telling me, like chicken should not be the price that it is today. Like if you buy chicken at the store, like that's not grown the right way, it's crazy cheap per pound. But like if it's literally impossible to sell it at that price if you're doing the right things. But if
Yeah,
you
of
cut
course not.
corners, you're able to get there. And so it's just sort of unfortunate for the
Yeah.
people who are doing the right things. So you guys, so what's like a typical grocery list?
Probably like 5 pounds of meat a week.
What kind of
Um,
meat?
Ground beef, chicken thighs, chicken breasts, typically. We kind of keep it the same. We get another dozen eggs because we're not getting enough from our chickens. We do raw milk if they have it, which I know is polarizing, but we like it. And it's a good, reputable company. Um, I mean, I'll pick a couple vegetables for the week, couple fruits that are in season. Those are usually more affordable too. And then, yeah, I mean, we try to stay around the perimeter of the grocery store. We're not getting tons of snacks. We'll get some crackers, but um, yeah, Andrew has to go with me because I usually splurge at the grocery store. That's I just love it. It's just so fun. I'm like, oh, let's get this. So to be on budget, the whole family goes.
But you do a lot of grocery store content, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that a key part of it? Is
Yeah,
like what
people
you shop
love a
for in a day?
Costco haul.
A Costco haul?
We'll get bulk stuff at Costco. sometimes. But we go to the grocery store once a week.
Got it.
I would like to go to the farmer's market, but ours is so crowded. So I always forget when it is. I feel like I should know that when it is by now. But it's just a lot of work taking the kids, parking, getting what you need. So that's why your company would be really great to have here.
Coming soon. No, I think the point about the farmers market sort of, we hear that a lot. I think farmers markets are great, but I view them as an experience, sort of like going to an NFL game. It's like super fun to go to once a year.
Mhm.
There's music, but it's not practical. Like you
Yeah.
don't have grocery bags, you don't have a grocery cart. If you buy frozen stuff, you got to go home immediately after to drop it off.
Right.
So it's just like I think it's a fun social gathering, but it's not practical if you want to like buy your go-to staple groceries, which is is kind of what we're trying to fill the gap on.
Yeah.
Is getting the good local food that just tastes better, it's healthier, by making it like part of the core routine, so you don't have to go to the grocery store.
Right.
Um, I'm jealous of you being in California though, because you have produce almost year round because of the weather. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. And I guess I don't realize it because I've been here my whole life. But mom does always say that when she comes to visit. Like she
Is
always
the
notices
produce
the
is better
produce.
out there?
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's imported if you're not, in California for
But a
certain
lot of it
seasons.
is imported here, like avocados, but they're not as good. And so that's something I'm trying to look at when I'm buying my food. Like, I don't need to buy avocados from Mexico. I can buy avocados from California. But I think when you're at the store, you're just grabbing what you see.
Yeah.
But just look, it takes 2 seconds, just see where, I'm sure there's usually like two options, buy the one that's closer to you, strawberries, whatever it is, because they'll
There's a
taste so much
couple.
better.
They, they're, yeah, that is so true. They taste so much better. But there's a couple problems with the importing food. So one, the time in transit is so much longer, and there's all these studies where food degrades. Like I was talking about with the coffee,
I just heard about that. Yeah.
every day the nutrient levels decline quite a bit. So there's a study they did with spinach, and I want to say like in a week, 70% of the vitamin C or whatever they're measuring decreased just from
Crazy.
sitting there, and it was still refrigerated. So the
Right.
time in transit matters. Oftentimes they're not picking at peak ripeness if it's going to be in transit a long time. So you're not getting like the full nutrients, and then they're covering it with waxes and things like that to preserve it along the way. So it does make a big difference. And the last thing is a lot of the standards are not the same
Mm.
for imported versus in the United States.
Yeah.
So you can be getting organic beef that's imported from, say, China or somewhere, and the standards for organic that the U.S. allows to import into the country is not as stringent as the standards in our country itself. So it really screws over the farmers here.
Right. Yeah.
And like, there's no way they're doing audits on these imported farms
Yeah.
either.
No, there's no chance.
So yeah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, and the other problem too is when you go to the grocery store, some of the labeling is a little bit unclear, where it says distributed in the U.S. instead of
There's
where
like
it's manufactured.
there's multiple states or multiple locations.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, wait, where is this from? Yeah, and I agree.
But like, I don't care where it's being distributed. I care where it was grown,
Right.
which is like the
Yeah.
primary thing.
Yeah.
So you buy from Roots. You mentioned Primal Pasture. So
Yeah.
is
So
that a
we've
local
done,
farm?
it's a local farm. We go in with like other family members doing a quarter cow, and we divvy up the meat, but you get so much meat. And actually, it's not that much. I don't even know if it's more expensive when it comes down to the price breakdown, but it's the best meat that I've ever had. It's just so good. So we've done that a few times. We need to do that again. I always say we need to do it again. But yeah, that's the best. So I've gotten that from there. Sometimes we'll do raw milk. There's also a couple people who do raw milk on their farms, and you just pay online and you go pick it up. They have like a little fridge, which is convenient.
Do
What
you have any
other?
reservations drinking raw milk?
I mean, just knowing where I'm getting it from, because even at the store, there's a new brand of raw milk I saw last week. And I was like, oh, should we try it? But I'm like, no, we know this brand. Let's stick with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you just need to know your source.
I think that's
Oh,
super important. I've heard that from some of our farmers
yeah.
where because I'm not an expert in this, but I asked them like, would you drink raw milk? And they said, yes, but I need to know the farmer because if the cows are sick,
Right.
then you lose some of that protection.
Yeah.
But you gave the example where pasteurized milk was, you called it water,
White water.
white water. And can you explain that a little
Well,
bit?
just because when they're pasteurizing, it's stripping the milk of a lot of its nutrients. So
Mhm.
it's just not as nutrient dense. And oh, that's weird. That's my camera outside. Um, but raw milk, again, it goes back to the taste. It tastes so much sweeter. And so that's obviously for a reason because your pasteurized milk has been stripped of a lot of that, the cream part of it. Um, but if you're pouring, like I don't use my raw milk in hot coffee because that essentially pasteurizes it. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
So yeah, I don't know if I was listening to a podcast or somebody talk about it, but I use it more in like a protein shake now, cold, because I'm like, well, what's the point if I'm gonna
Right.
essentially like, get rid of
You're
all,
not a coffee purist, it sounds like.
like just drinking plain coffee with nothing else in it.
Yeah.
I do a little milk.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was just kidding.
I also
Um,
have a honey dealer. A
honey
local,
dealer.
I'm
That
big on
sounds
local honey. Like that, I think everybody needs because we get a lot of allergies. And so we do like a spoonful of honey a couple times a week,
yeah.
but I just pick it up at her house. But oh man, it's the best.
Raw honey's the best. I put it in my yogurt every morning,
It's the best.
and it is so good.
Yeah.
The yeah, the raw milk's an interesting one. I need to do a deep dive on it, and I've been busy, so I haven't because people ask me about it all the time, and I'm just
I'll
not
send you the
educated on it.
podcast. The guy who owns Raw Farm. It was really good.
Please do. It's not legal to sell in Michigan right now. You can get a herd share,
Yeah.
and so we looked into that, but I think we've it's just not a priority for us right now. But we did partner with a farm that does low temp pasteurization,
Oh, that's cool.
so I think that preserves a little bit more of the nutrients
Okay.
than the higher temperature pasteurization, which is what most industrial farms do.
Yeah, whenever I post about it, I get some people saying, "Oh, I'm
You're
so
gonna
jealous."
die. You're
Well,
a
no, yeah,
terrible
I get
mother.
that. So it's either people
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, I'm so jealous. Do you have raw milk in California?" And then the other half are like, "Oh my gosh."
It is totally pasture. I think part of it too is the politics because I think RFK was pro raw milk. So
Yeah.
then immediately, if you hate RFK, then you're just gonna hate everything that
So
that it
dumb.
comes out of his mouth. It's like that's what I don't understand the Maha movement. It's really politically charged, but it's like make America healthy again. People, it's hard to argue against
Yeah,
that.
like who was against this?
Yeah,
No, we want red dye in all of our foods.
yeah, that could be a
Yeah.
good SNL skit.
Seriously.
So I want to finish the conversation going into your social media background because I think this ties into health a bit more on the mental side.
Yeah.
So you're just as background. So your initial videos were weren't they more like makeup to
Yeah, it was like
start?
a beauty channel.
So what was the evolution? Like, give me like what has it been like 15 years?
Almost.
Almost
Yeah.
15 years. So it started as a beauty channel.
It started as a beauty channel, then it started going more looking for natural products. So natural makeup, and then it went into food, like what I eat in a day. And
Mhm.
then when I got pregnant and continued with food stuff, I noticed people were very into food stuff. Like if I ever posted a what I eat in a day, they're so interested. And I think it's just people kind of they want to know what you're doing. They want to know what people are eating for breakfast. It's just like fascinating to people. And
Yeah. The morning routine videos are like super popular on
oh, those
YouTube.
are the most popular videos. Yes. So yeah, I kind of went in that direction. And then it became more mom content when I had kids. but now I don't like to show them anymore on social media. So I've kind of reverted back to how I started, like back down health stuff and what I'm eating, what I'm doing. Yeah, it's just basically what I'm into at the time.
So you've got, over hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So inevitably you're going to get negative comments. And so we just launched Locavana last year, and Ben runs our marketing and social media, and he sends us some of the comments sometimes, and it's kind of it's a dark place sometimes.
Yeah, I block a lot of people now
Yeah.
because I like it. I feel like I'm a pretty tough person. Not a lot gets to me, but certain things will. Like certain things will just set off a nerve and your day is just completely ruined. So if I ever get a comment like that now, I'm just like, block, goodbye. You obviously don't need to be here.
I've heard people say that you get like 99 good comments and one bad one, and the one bad one is the one
Is all
that
you
you
think about.
remember. It's all
Yes,
you think
and it makes
about.
me feel bad. I'm like, there's so many of you nice people out there, but I'm
Yeah.
not focused on that.
I
Yeah.
think it's also one of those things where, like, initially I was like, oh, I'm never going to be affected by it, right?
Hmm.
And then you get like a negative comment, you are affected by it
Yeah.
more than you thought you would.
Yeah.
But then over time, I think you do start to get a little bit immune,
Desensitized.
decent. And I don't have a big following or anything, but just from seeing some of the comments to Locavana, like I don't really care anymore. But have you felt that where you've kind of grown thicker skin, having
Yeah, I
dealt with
have
some
to
of
just
it?
kind of roll my eyes and understand that these people don't really know me. They see a 20-minute video once a week that's edited, so I just have to keep it separate now. And I think it used to be so all-consuming social media for me because I was filming my daily life all the time with the kids and everything I'm doing, and people want to know what's going on. And it got to a point where it was just too much. And my real life was too intertwined with social media. So I've had to separate the two now, and I see it more as a job. And like I created a private Instagram for just friends and family now, so then I can post the kids if I want to, but I have to see my Instagram as more of a job, which I think most people do now. And most people understand that it is a job. Actually, my mean comments for a long time, this was like years ago, would be from a sponsored video. So it'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're selling out for something." And it'd be like a product I'm using. But at
Yeah.
the time, ads or sponsorships were not normal. But people didn't realize this was a full-time job for me. Like I have to make money somehow. I'm spending so much time doing this. I like you get paid for your job, you're consuming this content. But now, which is a good thing, people know like when you watch a podcast, there's ads. When you watch a YouTube video, there's ads. People are just used to that now. Even on TV streaming, there's ads. So that's no longer an issue. But yeah, that was definitely like a weird thing.
And this podcast is brought to you by Locavana, the number one grocery delivery. No, I'm just kidding. No, that
Here
is
comes the ad
interesting.
read.
um, what's the line on choosing people you partner with? Would you choose anybody? Like, what if a gambling company offered you
No,
a
I
partnership?
draw the line on. I don't do many like apps and stuff. If I would spend my money on it, then I'll partner with them. Is kind of my rule of thumb. Like if
That's
this is,
simple.
yeah, like if I'm not going to buy this, I'm not going to recommend it to you. And I had some people say, well, what if other people would buy it? And that's totally a reasonable response. But for me, I just can't. I would get an icky feeling after. Like, I have to really like this company that I'm working with because I'm always thinking, what are people going to say? Which some people don't care, and that's fine. But no, I'm pretty picky now with who I work with.
I will say it was pretty cool when you did that Walmart campaign, just going on the Walmart website and you're like right there.
That was awesome. That was like
That
a
was pretty
highlight for
wild.
me. Still love Walmart.
I think it does take a level of courage to post on social media too, where I think a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, I could totally be an influencer.
Oh, everybody says that. Oh,
But
I should have done that. That's what everybody says.
yeah, but like like, so I started posting a weekly post on the behind the scenes of Locavana. And initially I was like, oh man, what are people going to think about Locavana? You know, it does take a little bit of courage to
Yeah.
actually like put yourself out there and be like, yeah, this is, you know, an open book on like what I'm doing during the day, or, you know, what for you, like what your interests are. Because, you know, it's like, it makes your life unprivate in a certain way.
Right. You're welcoming all these strangers in to look at things, which is weird. And then they say, oh, well, you're opening up your life, so we have the right to comment. But it's like,
Right.
not really. Like, I don't think I agree with that. Like, if you saw me in person, you wouldn't say that.
And it does take a lot of work. So Ben
Yeah.
does all of our posts, but I did them for the first 6 months, and you can totally see like the level of quality change from when I went from me to Ben. Immediately people are texting me like, wow, your social media looks great. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. But it wasn't me. But like seeing like the process of making videos, making, you know, ads and all of that, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't think people understand sponsorships, how much work is on the back end of things. They just see a 30-second video on Instagram. They're like, oh, you live the life. It's
Right.
like, this has been like months in the making, so people don't see that. But I think that is the appeal of Instagram and social media. It kind of looks effortless in a sense, you know.
So what about your kids? When are they going to be allowed
Oh,
to use social media?
a long time. And I think since I'm in it, I'm like extra aware of how bad it can be. So, I mean, we tell them because they ask, they go, when are we getting a phone? I say, when you're 16, when you get a car. When you can drive, you get a phone. So
That's
that's,
later than you got a phone.
I think I was 15
Yeah.
and it was a nice flip phone.
You play
But
Snake on it.
yeah, maybe. But I mean, it's just the internet, I think, is a problem. Like, I'm fine. A phone you can call, it's fine. And I know there's phones where you can call and just text, but you can't like send pictures. Like, there's definitely ways of doing it now. But yeah,
It's
kids,
tough. It's tough
kids
because
aren't,
I'm
they don't have the
addicted to my phones.
capacity. What?
Go ahead.
I just feel like if it affects me negatively, then a teenager, like that is just a recipe for a disaster. Like I can get one comment of a stranger. I have no idea who this person is. It could be a bot. Like this might not even be a real account. I don't even know. And it can wreck my day or
Right.
not even wreck my day, but like make me second guess something that I did, you know? Where I'm 37 years old, and if there's like a 15-year-old who gets something, that's yikes. Like, I couldn't handle that as a teenager.
Totally. And there's a lot of bad advice out there too. Like some of
That's
these
true.
Instagram gurus that are telling you to do all these crazy things. I could see that being a little bit dangerous as well.
And just being plugged in all the time, I think that, like, regardless of strangers on social media, just being on your phone that much and not in the real world is like, there's so many kids that aren't hanging out with their friends in person now. It's so odd to me. Like, they're just texting or
Right.
they're not hanging out. I remember like during COVID, there'd be no kids out, and Andrew would get patients. My husband's a physical therapist, so he'd get a lot of high schoolers, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we're just hunkered down at home," and he's like, "You're not hanging out with friends." Like they're very, I don't know. I just think teenagers now are very different, and I think it's a lot to do with social media. Don't you?
Totally. I even find myself somewhat addicted to my phone.
Oh
X
yeah.
is what I could scroll an X for hours, and I never feel great
I've
after.
been off X for a month. I had to
That's
get
a long
off.
time.
My algorithm was just like crazy. It was, I get on, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so insane. I have to like, and people have different capacities of what they can handle, I think, on social media. Like, I have to check out sometimes. I even said this weekend I'm deleting Instagram for the
Yeah, I
weekend.
think one of the most important things I've done is like stop scrolling when I wake up,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I got into that bad habit for a while. Like the first thing I do is just flip open emails, X, and all
Yeah.
it is things that stress you out, and
Yeah.
it's just a horrible way to start your day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't like as a kid, just being outside is so much better, and being out with friends and playing games than watching other people play video games on
Watching people
YouTube.
do things.
Yeah, I hate that
Yeah,
trend so much.
I know. I keep my phone, I don't keep it in my room anymore at night. I
Yeah.
keep it downstairs and I
Well, that
phone.
could go back to the health stuff because I
Oh
think
yeah.
mom talks about the EMFs she's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
nervous about. That's one where I don't keep my phone near my head just because if it is bad, then
Let's
it's
not
an
risk it.
easy. Yeah, let's not risk it. It's a
Yeah.
pretty easy thing
I
to
used to sleep with my
protect against.
phone under my pillow in college because I had a sleep app that would track my movement.
Oh, geez.
Like on my head. That's crazy.
So the AirPods is one that some people
Oh, I
think
do.
is
I have cords.
you have the cord head. So I've got both, and I
Okay.
use the cord ones a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't use my headphones that much anymore, but yeah, I got rid of my Bluetooth.
Yeah. All right, let's finish off with one question on what would you say your biggest pain point is when it comes to getting healthy food?
Finding it, I would say, like finding, like even just back to my honey, it took me forever. It took me years to find somebody that was close to me that made good honey. And I was getting it from somewhere else and it was a hassle or they wouldn't have it. So I think it's like the convenience aspect of it, like finding something that's high quality but also that fits into my schedule.
Right. So that's sort of what we're trying to do with Locavana, where you mentioned a farm that you go to, they might not have fruit and vegetables or honey,
Mhm.
but they've
Yeah.
got, certain things. So if you wanted to, you know, buy all of those things, you have to pay for shipping from each one. You'd have to go to the farm store at each one. And so what we're trying to do is, and this is our tagline now, is make, finding the healthiest, tastiest local food a lot easier, making it more accessible.
Yeah.
Um, so now you can go on like localbana.com and get, beef, you can get honey, fruits, vegetables, sourdough bread, all in one transaction. And it's farms that, we have vetted. It's
Yeah.
farms where you can see whether they're regenerative, whether they're organic, like all of that is public on the site and transparent. Then we deliver to your house. So it'll
So
be coming to
awesome.
California shortly here.
I've got
Um,
so many friends that will be so excited.
So right, the Midwest is our current regional hub in West Michigan, where we can get to Chicago, we can get to Grand Rapids and some other Michigan cities. I think our next area that we go to after the Midwest will be Southern California. So hopefully in the next, I would say less than a year for sure, we'll be out there.
That'd be awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks for the time, Kendra. This has been hopefully super insightful for all the Locavana listeners. Where can they find you if they want to see your socials or learn more from you?
On Instagram, I'm at with Kendra, and on YouTube, I'm Kendra Atkins.
Perfect.
That's where I'm at.